All right, let's talk about AI security monitoring. Your company has probably built some amazing AI systems, right? But here's the real question. Can you actually see what's going on inside them? If you can't, you're operating with a massive blind spot. It is time to turn on the cameras.
Let's just start with this powerful statement right here. Securing AI systems without monitoring and auditing is impossible. And that is not an exaggeration. Think about it. If you don't know what's going into your AI, what's coming out, or how much it's all costing you, you are flying completely blind. This is what we call the AI blind spot. And it's the perfect hiding place for security risks, data leaks, and yeah, some truly massive budget overruns.
So how do we close that blind spot? Well, the solution is actually a surprisingly simple but really powerful framework, the 3 pillars of AI monitoring. All we need to do is monitor the prompts, monitor the rates, and monitor the costs. If you get these 3 things right, you get the visibility you absolutely need to secure your AI.
So let's kick things off with Pillar 1, monitoring prompts. This is all about getting a look at the actual conversations that are happening between your users and your AI models.
I mean, really think about it for a second. What are your users, and let's be honest, potentially attackers pretending to be users, really asking your AI? Are they asking for help with a marketing slogan, or are they trying to trick the AI into spitting out confidential customer data? Without logging the prompts, you have absolutely no way of knowing.
So here's the bottom line. Logging both the prompts and the AI's responses is completely non-negotiable for security. This is how you catch someone trying to leak sensitive info or company secrets. It's how you spot abuse like prompt injection attacks. And look, when an incident eventually happens, these logs become your primary evidence for the investigation and for keeping the auditors happy. Plus, it's the only real way to know if your safety guardrails are even working in the first place.
Now, what's so interesting here is that this is a total team sport. Your Security Operations Center, your SOC, they're on the front lines watching for abuse, but they can't do anything unless the AI platform team actually builds in the logging. And even before that, your data privacy and legal teams have to set the rules on what you can log and what has to be redacted. Heck, even the business owners have a stake in this, using the analytics from these prompts to make the product better.
Okay, let's move on to our second pillar, monitoring rates. So if the first pillar was all about what is being said, this one is all about how often and how fast your AI is being used.
This pillar really gets to a fundamental security question. How do you tell the difference between a curious human user and a malicious automated bot? See, a normal person interacts in bursts, with pauses in between. An attacker's script, on the other hand, is just relentless and perfectly rhythmic. Rate monitoring is how you spot that difference.
And this is absolutely critical for stopping a whole class of automated attacks. Rate monitoring helps you detect those scraping bots that are trying to steal your data. It helps you prevent denial of service attacks that could take your whole system down. And it helps you identify a compromised user account that suddenly starts acting, well, like a machine. It's also just how you enforce fair usage and prevent one bad actor from sending your costs through the roof. Let's make this real for a second. Imagine your monitoring system sends you an alert. A single user account has just made 10,000 requests in 1 hour. That is not a person. That is a massive, flashing red flag, a clear anomaly that points directly to a compromised account or an automated attack that's happening right now.
And this just shows you the pattern you're looking for, right? A normal user, they might make a few dozen requests in an hour, and the timing's all over the place. An attacker, though, they're going to make thousands, often in a perfectly rhythmic, machine-like pattern. By setting rate limits and spotting these anomalies, you can shut them down before they do real damage. And again, this takes a village. Your IT and API teams are the ones who actually implement the rate-limiting policies. Your SOC then treats these spikes as serious indicators of compromise. Your SRE and CloudOps teams use this data to make sure the infrastructure can scale or throttle as needed. And yeah, even finance gets involved, using all this volume data to double-check the bill from your AI provider.
All right, that brings us to our third and final pillar, monitoring costs. Now, this might sound like a job just for the finance department, but in the world of AI, if you follow the money, it often leads you straight to a security risk. And this is the key insight. An unexpected spike in your AI spending is rarely just a budget problem. It's a symptom that you've lost control. Whether it's a compromised API key, a malicious user running super expensive queries, or some rogue shadow AI project that's bypassing all your rules, all of those things show up on the bill. So to do this right, you've got to monitor the 4 key dimensions of AI cost. First, there are the tokens in the prompts you send, and then the tokens in the responses you get back. Then you've got the cost of storing all that data in your models. And finally, there's the raw compute cost for all the processing.
A spike in any one of these areas is a signal that you need to go investigate. So imagine you're looking at a dashboard like this one. Project Alpha and Project Beta. They're humming along right on budget. But then, bam! Project Gamma's costs are suddenly 10 times higher than everything else. That spike is not just a budget issue, it's a security signal. It demands an immediate investigation to find out what's going on. Is it a compromised key? Is the system being abused? What is it?
So here we are again. It is a collaborative effort. Sure, finance owns the budget, but the security and risk teams have to learn to see these cost spikes as potential incidents. The AI platform team is the one that has to implement all the tagging and metering to track these costs in the first place, and business owners need this data to really understand the risk profile of every AI feature they decide to build.
Okay, so we've got our 3 pillars. Now let's put them all together and see what a complete enterprise monitoring blueprint actually looks like.
The best practice here is to funnel all of your AI traffic through a central AI gateway. This thing acts as a single choke point where you can log the prompts, measure the rates, and meter the costs. All of that data then flows into one central analysis platform, like your SIEM, and that becomes the single source of truth where all your teams, security, IT, finance, governance, can work together to enforce policies and respond to threats.
So let's quickly recap these blind spots, shall we? Without prompt monitoring, you are completely blind to data leakage and prompt injection. You just can't see it happening.
Without rate monitoring, you're basically a sitting duck for bots and denial of service attacks, and you will totally miss the telltale signs of a compromised API token until it's way too late.
And without cost monitoring, you won't spot that runaway usage until you get a bill that gives you a heart attack, leaving you exposed to huge financial risks and all kinds of ungoverned shadow AI projects.
So the takeaway here is really simple. These 3 pillars, prompts, rates, and costs, they are not optional. Together, they are the system that turns your dangerous AI blind spots into actionable security insights.
So, we'll leave you with this final thought. Your organization has effectively installed these powerful AI security cameras all over its digital property. But the question is, have you actually turned them on? Thanks for joining us.